In this video, we will show you how to deploy School Data Sync using SDS version 2.1 format CSV files. In order to deploy SDS successfully, you must have the following: an Office 365 for Education tenant, a Global Administrator account, School Data Sync Plan 1 enabled. If you meet these prerequisites, you are ready to deploy SDS. To begin deploying SDS, open a private session from a modern browser and navigate to sds.microsoft.com. Once the page loads, select Sign In. When prompted, enter your Global Administrator credentials. If this is your first time logging into SDS, you'll be greeted with a setting page which allows you to enable or disable SDS. You will want to ensure to toggle the switch to the On position to enable SDS. Once you have completed this, or if SDS is already enabled, click the Add Profile button to begin the SDS Setup wizard. To begin the SDS setup, you first need to specify a name for your sync profile. A sync profile is just a collection of settings and configurations that define how and what SDS will synchronize to your Office tenant. Once you have named your sync profile, pick the connection method SDS will use to sync your school's data. If syncing using CSV files, choose Upload CSV Files. Next, choose the format of the CSV files you're uploading. If you're syncing CSV files in the SDS version 2.1 format, choose CSV Files SDS version 2.1 format. Once you have made your selection, click Start. When on the Sync Options page, decide if you'll be syncing new or existing users. If new users, SDS will create user accounts for each teacher and student within your CSV dataset during the sync. With existing users, SDS will add extension attributes on top of the already existing user objects within your tenant for each of the student and teachers within your CSV dataset. For this example, we will be selecting existing users options, since we already have users created in our Office tenant. Once you have selected the appropriate option, it is time to upload your CSV files. Select Upload Files. You will be asked to upload all required files and have the option to upload additional files. Select Add Files and upload the required CSV files. Once you add your files, select the Upload button and then continue to make your selections on the Sync Options screen. SDS will complete a short validation process when the files are uploaded to look for formatting issues and errors within the file. If no errors are generated, select OK. In the Select School and Section Properties menu, choose the attributes you plan to synchronize. Your selections should mirror the attributes contained within your CSV files. Next, you will have the option to create a team automatically from each group in the sections.csv file. Without this option, SDS will only create the underlying M365 group. Next, you have the option to allow SDS to replace invalid special characters in line during the sync process. As special characters are encountered, SDS will replace them with an underscore. The next option will allow you to control the section display name. SDS will always write the display name during the first time sync. When it creates the Office group, this option decides if SDS will overwrite the display name during each subsequent sync, or if you want to allow teachers to overwrite and manage the section display name after the first time sync. Delay student access is the following option. You can delay the processing of student enrollments. This is helpful when you don't expose your student rosters in advance of the school start date. Be sure to set a date early enough to allow the processing to complete before you need your students to access the Office 365 groups and class teams. Large datasets can take several days to fully process student enrollments. Small districts may complete within a few hours, so plan accordingly. The final option on this page is the date to stop syncing this profile. This will typically be used at the end of the school year. Once the profile is stopped from syncing, you will have the option to retire the class associated with the profile. Once you have made all your selections, select the Next button. On the user page, select your identity matching options. This is where you tell SDS how to match users from your CSV files to users in Office. In the primary key, source directory, the only supported syncing method is with the username column and must contain the full user principal name. Appending on the domain name is not supported. Next, select the source user properties you plan to sync. You should mirror the attributes that are contained within your CSV files. Once you have made your selection, click Next. On the summary page, review the sync profile settings and make sure no changes are needed. Once you are happy with your selections, click the blue Create Profile button. Once submitted, wait for the profile to create. This may take a minute or two. Continue to refresh the page until the sync populates with blue icons and shows the actual sync status. Once the profile is created, SDS will run through the pre-sync validation check. If errors are encountered, the sync will stop and give the admin a chance to remediate the errors before starting the real sync. Once remediated, you can upload your CSV files to begin the same process again. If you want to ignore the errors, you can also proceed without remediating. To do this, click the blue Resume Sync option to start the real sync. If no errors are encountered during the pre-sync validation process, the real sync will start automatically. Once the sync is started, continue to check back on your sync status. You have now successfully deployed SDS using the SDS version 2.1 format CSV file format. Should you have any additional questions, please visit aka.ms/SDS support.